Hey everyone, welcome to part 5 of our vanilla top in red. So right where we left off, we're going to continue. Now, you should have 2 hexagons, one over the other. So front side, and that one is your back side. Okay, now in order to attach the sleeve, a new sleeve, the first hexagon, fold it like this. Now you have access to your hexagon that will supposedly be your back of the top, and the wrong side of this hexagon is facing you. Now what you need to do, you need to mark this side, the side that's on your right hand, okay? So mark it the same, picot yellow stitch markers, spaces orange stitch markers. And then we will proceed with the sleeve. All right. Now I hope you have your new hexagon ready to work the last row. Mine is here. I have it right here. So what you need to do, so this is where my last row ended, and I'm ready to start on the last row of the hexagon. Okay, the new row, the new round, the last round. So slip stitch into the next chain 3 space. So we just continue in pattern up to this corner picot, up to the first corner picot. So chain 4 for our first treble, and then another treble into this space. Work your picot, chain 3, slip stitch into the third chain from hook, 2 more trebles into this space. So that's 1, and this is second treble. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, double crochet into next chain 3 space of our motif. Picot on top of this double crochet, so chain 3, slip stitch into the front 2 loops of your double crochet, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 double crochet cluster. So first unfinished double crochet goes into our next chain 5 space, second unfinished double crochet goes into our chain 3 space right here. Finish cluster, picot out of chain 3, slip stitch into the front 3 loops of your cluster, chain 5 again, double crochet into the next chain 4 space. This is your corner space. Remember, it was a chain 8 with a picot on top, so we're gonna work our double crochet into the third chain stitch of this chain 4 space like this. Work your picot on top of this double crochet, so chain 3, slip stitch into the front 2 loops of the double crochet. Now working our first corner space out of chain 6 with a picot on top, so chain 3, now work your picot, so 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the third chain from hook, chain 3, and double crochet into the second chain stitch immediately following this picot. And now what you need to do, you need to work this side of the motif up until the next corner space in pattern. I think I'm gonna go with you because, I mean, you probably know how to do that, but since this video is all about attaching the sleeve, I have to show you, even if you think it's too detailed or it's too much to watch. So let's continue with a chain 5 here, 4, 5, double crochet, 2 double crochet cluster into the next 2 spaces. Okay, so first unfinished double crochet goes into the first chain 3 space, second unfinished double crochet goes into the next chain 5 space, finish cluster, picot on top of this cluster out of chain 3, yeah, chain 3, slip stitch into the 3 front loops of your cluster, chain 5 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, double crochet into your next chain 3 space of your working motif. We need a picot on top of this double crochet, so chain 3, slip stitch into the next, into the front 2 loops of your double crochet, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, work your trebles into the next chain 3 space right here. So 2 trebles first, 1 treble, second treble, picot out of chain 3, slip stitch into the third chain from hook, and 2 more trebles into this space. Okay, now we're gonna mirror back what we've done here. So chain 4, double crochet into your next chain 3 space. All right, don't forget the picots out of chain 3, slip stitch into the front 2 loops of your double crochet, chain 5, cluster out of 2 double crochets. So first unfinished double crochet goes into the next chain 5 space, second unfinished double crochet goes into the next chain 3 space, picot on top of this cluster, so chain 3, slip stitch in the front 3 loops of your cluster, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, double crochet into this chain 4 space. So skip 2 chains and into the third, work your double crochet. Picot on top of this double crochet, slip stitch in the front 2 loops of your double crochet. Now we're ready to work our new corner space with corner picot, but this time we have to be careful because this corner space and this corner picot gets to be joined right to this marked here, to this marked stitch here. So we're gonna start joining our new motif to this side of the motif from the back of your top. Okay, so let's do chain 3, that's to start your corner space, and then you need to work your corner picot out of chain 3. So how do we do this? Chain 1, the second chain space of your picot is going to become a slip stitch into this marked point. This is your actually your underarm point. So let's slip stitch into here. Now chain 1, go back into your work and slip stitch into the third chain from hook. So count 1, 2, 3. Here you have to slip stitch. Let's place this black marker back into this point where it was joined right here. Put it back and keep going with chain 3. Double crochet into the second chain stitch immediately following this picot. Okay, so into this stitch here. Now we started a new side of our working motif, and this new side has to be joined to the side that's marked on the motif from the back of your top. Okay, so let's continue in pattern. So the joining technique is absolutely the same as I showed you in the last video for the seam sides. It's just here we're joining the sleeve to the body. Okay, so this picot, the new picot that I have to make, is joining the picot that's waiting for me on the motif of the back of the top. The same way, slip stitch into here, chain 1, slip stitch into the front 2 loops of your double crochet. Now remember, the spaces are also joined to each other, so my new space has to be joined to that. So I have to make a chain 5 space here, so chain 2 first, then single crochet into the awaiting space of the other motif, into the middle stitch. That's how I work it. So chain 2 and cluster, 2 double crochet cluster. First unfinished double crochet goes into the chain 3 space of your motif, and next unfinished double crochet goes into the next chain 5 space of your working motif. So it's very simple, right? It's just a little bit of time-consuming process and a little bit of focus. Joining picot, so chain 1, slip stitch into the next awaiting picot of our previous motif, chain 1, slip stitch into your 3 front loops of your cluster, chain 5 again. This one again gets to be joined to the space from the previous motif, so chain 2 and then single crochet into this next space, to this marked space. The noise you hear, by the way, it's airplanes flying over our house. Now, to finish that space, chain 2 and then double crochet into your next chain 3 space here. Picot, also joining picot, so chain 1, slip stitch into your next awaiting picot, chain 1 and slip stitch into the front 2 loops of your double crochet. Now chain 4, we established in the last part that this chain 4 is joined to the other chain 4 space of the previous motif. So chain 2, single crochet into the awaiting space. This one is done in the space here. Now chain 2 and work your trebles into your next chain 3 space here. So first treble, second treble. This picot gets to be joined to the picot that's mirroring it from on the other side. Yeah, this one that's waiting for us. In the same way as I've been showing you till now. So slip stitch into the third chain from hook. continue with 2 trebles into this same space. So let's finish this side and then I'll let you work on your own. Chain 4, which is joined to the next chain 4 space on the previous motif with a single crochet. Chain 2, double crochet into the next chain 3 space here. Joining picot, so chain 1, slip stitch into the next awaiting picot. Chain 1, slip stitch into the front 2 loops of your double crochet. Chain 5, which is joined, so chain 2 and then single crochet into the awaiting space. Chain 2 again, 2 double crochet cluster, so first unfinished double crochet goes into the next chain 5 space. Next unfinished double crochet goes into the next chain 3 space. Finish cluster, work a picot, joining 1, so chain 1, slip stitch into the next awaiting picot. Chain 1, slip stitch into the 3 front loops of your cluster. Next space, that is a chain 5, so chain 2, single crochet into the awaiting space of the previous motif, and then chain 2, double crochet into this chain 4 space, so skip 2 chains of this space, and in the third one a double crochet, a picot that's also joined, so chain 1, slip stitch into your next awaiting picot. Chain 1, slip stitch into the 2 front loops of your double crochet. And now let's work our corner space with corner picot. So this corner space is chain 6 with a picot on top. So chain 3 first. The next picot, this one, has to be joined to the corner picot of the other motif. So chain 1 into this corner picot that's with the black stitch marker, slip stitch, chain 1, go back into your work, count 1 2 3, so slip stitch into this third stitch from hook, put the black stitch marker back into the point with these 2 picots joined. We're gonna need it for the next time. Okay, and finish this space corner with chain 3 and double crochet into this second chain stitch following this picot. So that you need a picot here. Chain 3, slip stitch into the 2 front loops of your double crochet. Now from here now on, I'm gonna let you work this side of your working hexagon without attaching it to anything. Just keep working this side on your own. So I'll meet you at this corner, okay? Continue in pattern just like I showed you and just like you know, and I'll meet you at the next space corner. I got to almost the end of this side. I need to have my corner chain 6 space with a picot on top of it. Now look what I'm gonna do. If you unfold your motif, now it looks like this. So remember, if you put this back on top of your back panel of your top, the motif looks like this. See? Now what you need to do here, so that's where I stopped, right at that corner. So what we need to do here, we need to, the piece that's facing you, this would be your front panel of your top. We need to mark this side with stitches just like before. Yellow stitch marker into each picot and orange stitch marker into each space. So my side is marked. It means that it's ready to be joined too. Now look what happens. This new motif that we joined to that side of the back, fold it in half, like this. So this side that you worked without joining, it just folds in half. This here is going to be your neckline opening, okay? So the new corner space is going to be joined to this corner space of your front motif. Understand? But we cannot work from that, from the left side to the right. So I need to turn my top in a position that will be comfortable for me to work the stitches. So I am gonna turn my top around a little bit. Just gonna get this yarn here so it doesn't stay in my way. Okay, let's turn the top clockwise, okay? So that I can comfortably start my joining from right to left. These two sides are facing each other now, okay? So now it's gonna be easy to work with. This is my working thread here. I don't know if you can see it, you don't see it, but that's fine. So my working thread, and I'm ready to start on joining these two sides. So I stopped at my corner space, which I have to make, and we keep going with chain 3 and then joining picot. So chain 1, slip stitch into this marked corner picot, chain 1, slip stitch into the third chain from hook, and just like I showed you until now, keep working in pattern, joining the two sides, okay? So double crochet into this second chain stitch following this picot, because this is a corner. Don't forget that each picot gets to be joined to the picots from the previous motif, and the spaces get to be joined to the spaces from the previous motif. So keep going in pattern until you have this. You can keep going until to the last corner here, up to the last corner, and I'll meet you here. All right, I joined these two motifs. So this is my sleeve and that's the body, and this is the joining seam between the two. I got to the corner space, which I have to still make. We're gonna make this exactly like before. So turn the top clockwise so you can work more comfortably, and look at your sleeve. If you line it correctly like this, it's already looking like a sleeve. You just need to join the bottom seam of this sleeve right now. So I'm going to continue with my corner space. That's at the underarm. Remember when we first started joining and I said that that corner was the underarm? Now we got back to that corner and we are joining this new corner space to the one that's been joined previously. So chain 3, now joining picot, chain 1, slip stitch into this marked joining spot, right where these 3 picots meet, okay, into this center right here with a slip stitch, and then chain 1, come back into your working motif and slip stitch into the third stitch from hook, and that is this here. No, it's not there, it's here, but it's very, very tight. Okay, I'm gonna redo this step just quick so I have it a little bit more loose. So chain 1, slip stitch into the joining spot of the 3 picots, chain 1, slip stitch into the third chain from hook. Okay, that's better. And then chain 3, because you're finishing this corner space, double crochet into the second chain stitch after this picot, and just like I showed you before, this new side of yours has to join the side of the sleeve up to the last corner, up to the next corner space, up to here. So continue joining it in pattern. Probably will start you off. So this is a picot that needs to be joined. Oh, what I didn't do here, yeah, I did not mark this side with stitches, stitch markers. So let's do that, because I think it's gonna be easier for you. So you can mark with stitch markers these picots and spaces, or you don't have to if you feel like you can do it without them. Okay, so you just continue in pattern. I'm gonna slip stitch into this picot that awaits me, chain 1, and then slip stitch into the front 2 loops of your double crochet. So chain 5, that space is joined, so chain 2, single crochet into the middle stitch of the space that's waiting to be joined, chain 2, cluster. So first unfinished goes into the next chain 3 space of your side in this motif, and next one goes into the next chain 5 space. Finish your cluster, picot to join the picot waiting, chain 1, slip stitch into the front 3 loops of your cluster, and so on and so forth until you get to your next corner space right here. All right, I'll meet you at this corner space. So look guys, this is the underarm point where we joined those corners, picots. I joined the sleeve up to the next corner space. Now I have to work my last corner space here. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we need a joining picot. So chain 1 into this corner picot of this unfinished side, slip stitch here, chain 1, come back into your work and slip stitch into the third chain from hook, chain 3 to finish this corner space, double crochet into, so this is your working side now, double crochet into the second chain stitch following this picot, and then you need to finish this round up to here in pattern. So picot 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the front 2 loops of your double crochet, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, cluster out of 2 double crochets. So first unfinished double crochet into your next chain 3 space, next unfinished double crochet into the next chain 5 space. Again, you need a picot here, So 1, 2, 3. So that was a chain 3. Slip stitch into the front 3 loops of your cluster and chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Double crochet into the next chain 3 space on this side. Again, picot. 1, 2, 3. So that was chain 3 and slip stitch into the front. All right, so last chain 4 space. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slip stitch into the 4th chain of your first treble. Remember when we started this? Hexagon, chain 1 and pull through. All right, let me show you how this looks. So your work ends up as if you're looking at the top from above, and that's exactly what I mean. This is your neckline opening, that's your shoulder, sleeve, and this is what you end up with, right where we started when we first started this last row of our new hexagon. Now I'm gonna turn the top around again clockwise, so just you can have a good view of it. That's your bottom corner of the top, okay? Side seams, this is neckline opening, and this is your sleeve, okay? So one more sleeve needs to be here. Now, how do you do that? Turn your top with this sleeve facing to your left, like that. Okay, so this space is empty and ready for you to work your next sleeve. And again, like before, this one, take it a little bit aside like that, so you can have your other side open from this stitch marker to this stitch marker. Now mark this side with stitch markers, just like I did here, and then start watching this video again from the moment where I start showing the last row of the new motif. So obviously you need to have a new hexagon ready up to the last row, and then you start watching the video again, and this way, following the instructions given in this part, you'll be able to attach the second sleeve without a problem. The top will look exactly the same on the back and on the front. So if you want, you can mark your front with something, with a different color stitch marker, or your back, it doesn't matter, as long as you know. If you're going to add a tag to this top, in case you want to sell, for example, and you need, so just choose one side and sew that tag to the back, the inside back of the top, or whatever you do that usually, I don't know, and that will tell you which one is the back and which one is the front. So I think I'm gonna work the second sleeve. I'm gonna let you do that alone without me, and I'll see you in a little bit. All right, my top is finished. I attached the second sleeve, and you can see I have not weaved in the ends yet, but I placed it on top of the original vanilla top for you to see the difference. So this one is hot off the hook, and the bottom one has been washed and dried. About washing and drying, I think that if you throw this into the machine, into the washer and dryer, the size will remain the same. Maybe it will shrink a bit, but I noticed that with time, the more you wear it, it goes back to its natural form, to the shape that it needs to be. The same with hand washing. When I first hand washed the vanilla top, it was way larger than what you see here. It was like a tunique, almost like a beach dress. Don't be afraid to squeeze it, like to squeeze the water out of it. Don't be afraid to shake it in the air to get the excess water out of it. It will be way larger than what you think, and don't get scared because of that. Once you put it on a dry towel to air dry, the top will get back to its natural shape, whatever it needs to get there. So those were just my tips for you about care and handling. Thanks for watching, and I always wait for you on my Facebook page, Crochet Realm. I post there everything I make in crochet, and check the page from time to time. If you have any questions, you can contact me through private messenger, email crochetrealm@crochetrealm.com. And as always, if you want, you subscribe to my channel, Crochet Realm, and I'll see you in my next videos.